Hey, you guys. So I'm recording this in my car on my way home from Whole Foods. And I just recorded an episode about fear. And yeah, I shared the story of my daughter, my little one, 10 years old, and how she was telling me that she was afraid of being alone. She was afraid of school shootings and all of the things of living. And I remember being the same way when I was a kid. Um, but I wasn't actually able to verbalize it. I think it's powerful when you are able to speak out loud the things that you are afraid of. And I love that I have given my children and my clients permission to speak about fear in a safe place because I am a woman who has developed a much different relationship with life. I used to live in a lot of fear of so much. I mean, of course, being a mom, just being a mother is something to be afraid of because you bring three children into this world. My hands are I'm my hands are off the steering wheel of my kids' lives in so many different ways, and I've really found a soft place to land in God and God protecting my children and all of that. And it's honestly, it's allowed me to live in leadership with them, live in divine leadership with them, but also, um, you know, I just feel like the world is what you're going to believe it to be, and that we can create our own reality. So, at any rate, I just was waiting to pick up groceries, which I don't usually do, but I wanted to try it out. So waiting in the parking lot for my Whole Foods delivery, and my 10-year-old calls me and she's kind of crying, but she's like, Mom, you're never gonna know what happened. You're never gonna guess what happened. And I was like, oh gosh, like my heart sank. I'm not gonna lie to you, because at any rate, at any moment, things can happen. And it's how you respond to things. And it's honestly your response, I think, can create a ripple that allows people to feel safe, and I want to create a ripple of like safety and love and okay, we've got this type of thing. So she goes on to share with me that she's, and in the elevator, going up to her condo, and this guy is talking to her. And I will admit, as soon as I heard that this guy was talking to her, I was like, oh, my heart sank again. All right, I won't lie. This is really what happened. And like anxiety came in, and I'm like, oh my God, I just share this podcast about how, if anything were going to happen that would be bad, like mom would get a premonition, and I feel like I could intercede or get God to intercede or whatever. But she's like, Mom, a dog bit me on my leg. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, are you okay? What, show me it. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm an hour away. Does she need medical attention? Who's home? Her dad's a football coach. I know he's at practice. Like, what's going on? And then I just stop, right? Then I'm like, okay, stop the fear, because you can't find clarity in the fear. And I'm like, okay, honey, are you okay? She's like, yeah, Mom, I'm okay. I'm okay. And then I'm like, okay, show me the cut. And she did. She got bit. I said, all right, well, take a go get a paper towel or a napkin or toilet paper and blot it and tell me if there's any blood that comes out. And she did. She touches it and she's like, no, no blood. I'm like, okay, well, this is good because the dog bite didn't bite your skin, right? And she's like, okay, Mom, I gotta go. I have to go to soccer practice. I'm like, all right, do you need me for anything else? I'm like, if you want to put some bacitracin on. She's like, no, Mom, I gotta go. And it was almost like as soon as she like knew that she was okay, and she ultimately did know that she was okay, but she was just like, okay, I got to move on, mom. And I feel like it's our responsibility as parents, and I'm going to kind of just drop in a little bit with some truth here. I think it's our responsibility of parents to stewarding our consciousness away from everything's doom and gloom and everything, we've got to like uber protect and helicopter parent. And I'm not saying that there isn't validity to that, but what I just experienced was a kid who felt safe in life, talking to me, and then also felt like I can move on. I don't need to stay in the fear of it anymore. And granted, is my kid going to be afraid of dogs? No, she loves dogs. Did she immediately move on because she doesn't, because I don't hold on to things, so she doesn't hold on to things? It's that kind of thing that I think when we don't hold on to fear and we live in a trusting, faithful way, and when we truly walk with the divine in life, we know that, like, for that situation, it could have been 100% worse. It could have been like, could have punctured her skin. It could have, and and that would have been that would have been, it would have been it would have been fine to handle, and this and that. But like, God made that easy, and honestly, now I get to have the conversation with her about what to keep an eye out for. So it opens a window, it opens a door, and she will intuitively know, because our kids are so smart too. I mean, I probably won't even have to have the conversation with her about, okay, well, this happened to you. It's kind of like a little bit of a heads up that we aren't in control of dogs. And it wasn't that she was afraid of the person per se, but it gives her more information about her surroundings that she needs to be afraid of, that she needs to be consciously aware of. Okay. Now, what's coming up for me too is what lessons that I've learned too from a teenage driver, as a mom of a first time driver. I think maybe I'll do, I don't know if I'm going to loop that in or not. Yeah, I'll loop it in here. Why not? It's that the first couple of times that my daughter was driving, and she, because I live an hour away from her and she does have a car, the level of trust in her had to be instilled right away, which is like, you're getting this car because I do trust you, because I've seen that I can trust you. And it came from a lot from my husband, who has two older sons. And he's like, you just got to give them opportunities to prove this, right? And the more opportunities you give them to become responsible adults, the more they see that they can. And she has very much in every way done that. And I'm very proud of her. But let me tell you, the first trip that she took driving out to my house on a major highway, I was on eggshells. And my husband could tell, and he's like, what if you just trusted? And I think I even reached out to my friend. Yeah, I reached out to my friend, and I'm like, I'm like not good right now. And she's like, what if you just put, like, say a prayer for Neve that she's safe? Or no, I said, I'm just gonna say, like, she's safe, she's safe. And then and then my friend was like, what if you say God's protecting her and she's having, an experience, and that, like, yeah, the divine is protecting her, which of course I do that for my kids. But this was a particular case where I was like unnerved, undone. Um, And I mean, that really doesn't serve any purpose, because what you do is you take yourself out of the moment. But also when fear comes up, it's like it's another passageway for you to get closer to trust. And that's kind of how I use fear too. It's like I don't I do my best not to live in fear at all. But when situations come up, they do activate fear. So I think that's the biggest difference. Like when situations appear in front of me, like my daughter calling me up and telling me that she got bit by a dog, my heart sank, this and that. When, my newly anointed teenage driver was driving her maiden voyage out to visit me for the first time, I was like, oh my God, I'm on eggshells. And then as those things started to, the more she did it, the less I stressed. The more I faced it, the more I stood in it, the more it faded away, because the proof was there. And that's kind of like, see the proof that you've created in your life, that you have lived. You know what I mean? Like that you've made it through it, because we're really resilient and really strong. And what we tend to get afraid of is the unknown and like the quote unquote catastrophes. Well, here you go. Even in life's most trying moments, it's not that there's an absence of the divine or of God. God's always with you during those times, and in fact can carry you with him. You know, it's about what the process is doing, right? When we face something head on that is like that rattles us or activates or triggers us, it's just that the divine is wanting us to release what we're holding on to. And once we release what we're holding on to, we can open up our vessels. And this is kind of the process that I liken to, we got to weed out the garden. We got to take care of what our hearts are holding on to, so that we can grow our capacity, grow our faith, grow our trust, that the divine can take up residency inside of our hearts, inside of our homes, and that we are living in the fruits. We are living in the connection to God, the breath of God, the house of God. And really, honestly, truly, this has been my human experience of feeling like I had been abandoned, forgotten, holding on to grief, holding on to fear, being resentful, eating from that bitter apple, and understanding that really, truly, the only direction for me from this moment forward, from every moment forward, is to walk in faith. Okay, to walk in faith, to know that I'm protected, to know that there is nothing that I won't be able to get through. And every single checkpoint that I get through, every single day that I pass through life, where I have the opportunity to release some baggage. Because think of the metaphor of the hot air balloon. That hot air balloon image came to me so long ago, maybe 12 years ago, when I started to lift off, right? I started to ascend. And when I was really, truly in the new age mix up, I was in Egypt and we went on a hot air balloon ride. And I just remember the whole process of like getting in the basket, and the basket, we the fumes, like the gas and the propulsion that comes from the flame, and then how they unhitched the weights and we lifted, and then it really truly is like that. So every opportunity that you walk through fear, and you make it on the other side of fear, and you know that you're safe, and you know that God loves you, and you know that there's nothing that you can't do through God, you know that there's nothing that God doesn't want to do through you. God wants to fulfill all destinies, all realities.